Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Casey and I like to talk about fitness and beauty and a few things in between. So if that sounds like your jam, hit that subscribe button and keep on watching. So today, for the first time ever, I am going to be doing a makeup tutorial.
I'm terrified, absolutely terrified.
To be straightforward, I am not a professional makeup artist. I have no formal education or training. I am just a regular average girl from Minnesota who has been obsessed with makeup since she was a young girl. So everything that I know and that I do has been learned through observation, reading, watching, and just experimenting on myself. I thought for this video I would just show you what I do, things that I've learned, tricks that I've learned. I probably don't do things right. However, I don't think that there's a right and a wrong when it comes to makeup. I don't think there are rules. I think there are probably better ways to go about doing things. But for the most part, it's art. It's creative self-expression. As far as the look goes, I will be creating this look for you. I've got one product that I specifically wanted to use because more people need to know about this product. Well, more people need to know about this brand in general, but this product specifically is one of my favorites of theirs. So I kind of centered the look around this one product, which I will get to when we get to it. I'm going to keep the look neutral. I'm going to work with some basic browns, maybe some mauves, and then I always add like a bit of shimmer or glitter or some sort of iridescence or a pop of color that just kind of, to me, makes it me. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be keeping the look fairly neutral, but with that pop of shimmer, that pop of me, that pop of Casey. And then also in addition to that, I kept things as affordable as possible because I personally believe that you don't need to spend tons of money on good quality makeup. Everything that I'm using here I think are great products that I would recommend to anyone and everyone. Anyway, I hope that you enjoy. I hope that maybe you learn a thing or two. I kind of have a weird order of operations when it comes to doing my makeup, so just hang with me. And anyway, hope you enjoy. So I am bare-faced and ready. I don't use a primer, but I have already done my skincare, and that is sort of my priming process. I started with, washing my face, and then I went in with my hand skin essence, patted that into my skin, and then I used the Ordinary's Alpha Arbutin Serum all over. I really like that product. It's great for diminishing spots, darkness, and just brightening your overall complexion. And then after that, I went in with the COSRX Snail Mucin Cream all over. I also kind of use that sort of as a serum, and then once that kind of dried down, I went in with my Derma E Vitamin E Moisturizer. I'm pretty sure I've talked about all of those products in a video at some point already, but they are just my go-to, especially right now. It's February in Minnesota. It's very cold. It's below zero.
Very dry outside.
And these products have just really been loving on my skin. So I've already done that, and I am ready for makeup. My entire life I have started with doing foundation first and then doing my eyes, and I tried to reverse that, and I really did like it because I like being able to clean up my eye makeup with foundation and concealer, not having to worry about making a mess. That was great. But I think it's like the artist brain in me, and also that lifelong habitual habit of starting with foundation. I just feel weird. So I still start my routine with doing foundation,
but
I've created a routine where I get the best of both worlds. So I'm just gonna do foundation and I'm gonna do concealer later. I think today I'm going to use the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I have the shade Light 5N here. It's okay. I wouldn't say that it's like anything revolutionary. I mean, it's a decent tinted moisturizer that's affordable. So I guess I would repurchase it again because there's nothing wrong with it. My skin responds nicely to it. Anyway, I am just applying it. I applied 1.5 pumps and I'm going to rub it in. I use my hands. I generally don't use full coverage base. For one, they're typically heavier products and I don't like feeling that heaviness on my skin. And also I feel that my skin isn't too bad for the most part. And so I don't feel the need to go in with a full coverage product. I personally would rather just enhance my skin, with glow and just kind of let it breathe. As so, I also have a hard time with color match, and I just find with like these lighter coverage products that's not as much of an issue. So anyway, I've always just kind of been like a tinted baby, tinted moisturizer kind of gal. And now I'm going to go in with the Milani eyeshadow primer to prime my eyelids. While I don't believe in face primer, I do believe in eyeshadow primer. I'm just going to use a dab here on my ring finger. Dab, dab, dab. And then apply it evenly across my eyelids. I do go in a little bit under here because I generally apply makeup under here. So now I'm going to do my brows. I feel weird starting eyeshadow before doing my eyebrows because I feel like they're kind of the framework of my face. So I always start with a pencil. This one is the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil in the shade, I don't know, taupe, I think. I use the pencil to start by shaping my brows. And so to do this, I use my nose as a guide. So I will start with the tip of my nose here, and I will go to the start of my eyebrow here, and I will just do a faint mark here. And then I will use the tip of my nose again and have it kind of cross where like my pupil would cross and find the middle of my eyebrow. This would be where my arch would start then, so I'm also going to create just a little bit of a line here. And then to find the tail of my brow, again, I'm going to use my nose and go along the edge of my eye here to find the tail of my brow. And again, just another faint mark. And then it's just connecting the dots. So if you're able to see, I now have more of an outlined brow. I'm just going to use my pencil now to kind of fill in the outline so it doesn't look so cartoonish. I'm not super worried about the harsh lines right now because I'm going to blend them in. One trick that I learned when doing brows, if you're working with a pencil, when you hold your pencil like this, create upward strokes. And when you hold your pencil like this, create horizontal strokes. I find it easier to create straight lines, whereas if I'm just kind of like going in and trying to draw, it just looks less natural. I just find that this technique creates more natural looking brows, and it keeps the pressure consistent. Now to kind of blend everything, I will use the spoolie side of the eyebrow pencil, and I'm just going to brush upwards in quick short strokes. I just find that this starts to blend the pencil markings, so those harsh lines go away and blend out. That is all I'm going to do for my brows right now. I will come back to them in a bit after I do my eyes. I told you I've got a strange order of operations here, but it'll make sense. It will. I'm going to move on to my eyeshadow now. And for my eyes, I'm going to use my e.l.f. Opposites Attract eyeshadow palette. You get 18 shades. I like this one because you get a lot of neutrals in there, but you still kind of get to play with some fun colors. This formula is great. I highly recommend checking it out if you're just wanting more color variety in your eyeshadow collection but don't want to pay a whole lot of money. So I'm now going to go in and start building up my crease. I find that, yeah, you can go in with a solid wash of color all over your lid and call it a day. I always like to go a little bit extra with my look. I find that by adding color and darkness to your crease, it can make your eyes look bigger, because when you add darkness, it makes things go in, and when you add light, it makes things come out. So when I am putting color in my crease, I'm kind of creating more of an eye shape, I think. And then, you know, when I put in my pop of color and my shimmer here, it kind of pulls it out. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's about creating dimension. So I'm going to go in, I believe, with the shade Warm here, which is just like a mid-tone brown. And I just got a thin crease brush here. See how I started on my outer corner and I pulled it up and have started creating a crease, some dimension here. I'm also going to now pull it down to my lower lid. And again, because I haven't done concealer yet, I'm not going to be super concerned about staying within the lines. If I create a mess, it's not a big deal because I will fix it later. So I've dipped my brush twice actually. I start with the one dip and started here, and I'm just pulling the color up rather than re-dipping over and over again to get color all over. I'm using that one dip and using the color, diffusing the color up and down to create shape around my eyelid. Okay, so I have created the crease, the outline of my eyes, and as you can see, I'm not super concerned about the unevenness down here because like I said, I'll go in with concealer to fix that later, but I do, because my eyelids are dry, I did get some patchiness and some unevenness up here, which, you know, tends to happen sometimes too, also depending on the eyeshadow formula and your level, your skill level also. My trick for fixing that and to buff that out is I take a round concealer brush and I take my face powder. So I'm going to use my Milani Prep Set and Glow, and I'm going to swizzle some powder in there, and then I'm just going to buff this along the edges of the eyeshadow that I just did, just to buff out and diffuse some of the unevenness that appeared as I did my crease shade. Alright, I don't know if you can tell, that has evened things out a little bit. So now I am going to go in with my lid shade, and I think for that I'm going to use Daring right here. It's like a cool toned rose gold, sort of like a bronzy cool toned rose gold. And for this, unpopular opinion, but I do like to use those little eyeshadow, I don't know what you call it, applicators that come in a lot of like drugstore eyeshadow palettes. I actually buy this pack from Amazon. A lot of them are really cheaply made that when you go and do a swipe, the pad falls off, then you end up scraping your eyelid, and it's terrible. But these are really good quality. I've never had issues with that happening with these ones. They last a couple of uses and then I throw them away. So anyway, I'm just going to pat this on top of the shade Daring and go in and just start patting this on my eyelid. So I find that in patting the color in, not only does it create more of a hold because you're actually pressing the color into your lid rather than brushing it on, but it's just a little bit more gentle. So now I'm just going to go in with a brush that I haven't used yet, and I'm going to go along my crease just to kind of blend the two shades together, my crease shade and my lid shade. Next, I believe I'm going to go in with eyeliner because I do want to create a little bit more dimension on the outer portion of my eye. I'm going to go in with my Essence Long Lasting Eye Pencil in the shade Hot Chocolate. It's just a matte brown, and this one is just a twist up. It's not a pencil, so it's more of like a gel cream eyeliner. So again, I'm not super concerned about creating neat lines because I'm going to go in with another brush and kind of diffuse this gel pencil out. So I am going to do a line on the top and then now again along the bottom lid. And now to blend this out, I'm going to take, I don't know what kind of brush this is. It's just a flat head wide brush. And for this, I'm going to start where my eyeliner line ended here in the middle, and I'm going to pull and diffuse the eyeliner out this way. So next I'm going to do mascara, and I always start with curling my eyelashes. Do this, I think a lot of people are afraid to curl their eyelashes. I will put my eyelashes in the center of the curler, of course, and almost kind of act like I'm pressing into my eyeball gently, ever so gently. For mascara, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Lash Sensational mascara in the shade Black. So when I do mascara to thoroughly coat all the lashes, I will start at the end and I will blink each time I do a stroke of mascara, if that makes sense. So that way, as you blink, you're getting every part of your lash. You're dragging the color through your lashes. I will also wiggle the brush side to side to help separate the lashes. And then for my lower lashes, I am a mascara snob, so yes, I do usually go in with two different mascaras, one for my upper lashes and one for my lower. My bottom, I'm going to go in with the Essence Volume Stylist 18-Hour Lash Extension Mascara. I talked about this in a recent video and how I did not like it at all for my upper lashes because it makes them look very spidery, very wiry. But for your lower lashes, the brush shape is like just perfect size to get in there and to coat the lower lashes without creating too much of a mess. Another trick, if you're wanting to add just a little bit more length to certain parts of your lashes, rather than running the wand through your lashes horizontally and again coating all your lashes with mascara, especially at this point when a lot of it has already dried down, hold your mascara wand vertically and just hit the parts that you're wanting to add length. It never fails, no matter how many times I've done my mascara, no matter what I do, I always get mascara smudge marks on my eyelid, which is why I don't finish my eye look first. I like to create kind of like the base and then do mascara and then finish my eyelid, whatever I'm going to do with the main attraction part of my eye last, because that'll cover up the mascara smudges. And it's something that I don't ever see beauty gurus struggle with. So is it like my lack of skill? Is it my eye shape? Is it just something no one talks about? How do you not get those black smudges along your eyelid? Tell me.
Tell me.
Tell me. So, okay, moving on. This is when things are gonna get a little weird, because my process of finishing the rest of my look is just, there's no sense to it. So now I'm going to go in and finish my eyebrows. And to do this, I'm going to start with using my L'Oreal Brow Stylist Brow Razor Highlighter. One end is the highlighter and one end is like a concealer stick, and I use this to shape my brows. So I'm going to go in with the concealer stick side, and I'm going to start at the bottom front part of my brow, and underneath I'm just going to draw a very faint line underneath the length of my brow. You could also just use your regular concealer for this. However, I like using the pencil because I find it's easier to work with. It doesn't dry down nearly as quickly. And now I'm going to go in with these EcoTools. I think this is a concealer brush. It's just another flat round brush. And I'm just going to buff that pencil out. A lot of times after I put on that pencil, I will go in with a cream colored eyeshadow powder. I'm very particular about my eyeshadow that I do this with. It has to be close to my skin tone, but it has to be a little bit brighter. And so the one that I normally use is from the So Jaded palette. I will put the shade name here if you happen to have that palette and you have my skin tone. That shade is like the ideal shade for this. But since I don't have that near me, I just have my two e.l.f. palettes here. I'm going to go in the new Classics palette and use the shade Cream here. That pencil that I just laid down is still a little bit tacky, so now I find that applying just a light dusting of color is going to highlight any parts of my brow that I want to highlight. So I don't know if you can see the difference between the two. This one now has the eyeshadow powder underneath. I just feel like it really accentuates the arch more. So definitely not something you have to do. It's just kind of part of my extra brow routine, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to go in and use a brow gel to make my brows have shape and hold. I've just been obsessed with my eyebrows lately. I've gotten a few new products to play around with. I'm just on a brow journey. So a new thing that I've been using for my brow glue is the Got to Be Glued Styling Spiking Glue. It is my new favorite thing. I'm obsessed with how this makes my brows look and how well it holds. So what I have been doing, I have this spoolie from e.l.f. I believe it's just $2 at most drugstores again. I just bring a little bit to the surface and rub my spoolie through it here. This is a clean spoolie. I do wash this between every single time that I do this because this will build up gunk on your spoolie and, cleanliness. And then I just use my fingers to kind of rub it through, even everything out. And now I'm gonna go in and run it through my brows, and I just do upward strokes. I have had it happen where I've gotten too much gel on my spoolie and I get too much gel on my brows, and you can kind of see that white gel. This product, I find it does dry down. However, if you do go in with powder products afterwards, I see that it'll stick in the gel. And generally, if I just comb through with a clean spoolie, it'll kind of clean it up a little bit, but just something to be aware of. Again, this is why I do my brow gel last. I'm thinking that definitely a couple years from now, I'll look back at this and look back at pictures of myself and be like,
Why did I put hair gel in my eyebrows?
Why did I glue my eyebrows to my face like that? But for right now, I like it. Okay, so I think that is good for my brows. As you can see, they've definitely got some new shape and definition going on. Again, if this isn't your thing, totally not a step that you have to do, but if you are looking for a good brow gel and you want to follow that laminated soap brow trend, this has been my go-to. got to be. Now I'm going to go in and do my concealer. So for this, I'm going to use my Undone Beauty Conceal to Reveal Concealer Palette. Mine is very beaten because I love it. Love it to death. This is the shade 430 Buttercream Medium Light. Undone Beauty is available to purchase in some Targets. However, they are also available on Amazon and on their website, which I will link everything down below for you. So this palette is normally divided into three, the top, middle, and bottom. The top is supposed to be lighter coverage, middle is mid coverage, and the bottom part is higher coverage, of course. So I put a little bit on a foundation brush, and I'm just going to brush it underneath, pat it in underneath my eyelids here. So like I said, I wasn't concerned about having harsh shadow lines because now I'm going in and covering them. I have a damp beauty sponge now that I'm going to go in to blend it out. And to set things, I'm going to go in again with my Milani Prep Set and Glow Illuminating powder. It's really nice. If you have dry skin and you're kind of leery about powder, I find that this one is very good. It sets your makeup the way that you want, but it doesn't necessarily enhance dryness. And it's also it's illuminating, but not like highlight glowy illuminating. It just has got a little bit of like a lit from within effect to it. All right, now I'm going to go in and add a little bit of bronzer. For this, I'm going to use my Pacifica Bronzer Blush Duo. I did get this from Ipsy. I have seen Pacifica available at Ulta, of course, and then also I find them at some health food stores. So I know at Fresh Thyme, I don't know if that's just like a Midwest thing or if they're all over, but if you happen to have a Fresh Thyme in your area, generally I know that they do also sell Pacifica. I really like their cheek products. They're like the perfect amount of pigmentation for me. They're buildable, and I just find that their colors always flatter my skin. I would recommend their cheek products for sure. I don't know that I've ever tried their eyeshadows or any other of their makeup products, but I can speak to their cheek products. Love them. So I'm just going to dip into the bronze here. It is a matte bronzer. And when I do my bronzer placement, I think about where the sun would hit me naturally and where my skin would tan. So that's, you know, this part of my forehead and around the frame of my face, the bridge of my nose. Generally, I find a bigger, fluffier brush like this, it works better for this type of effect because I'm kind of going for an all-over suntan look, whereas if I was working with a smaller brush, something smaller like this is going to be more of a focused placement, I guess, which isn't what I usually want with my bronzer, so I prefer a little bit fluffier of a brush. Now, if you really want to be extra and do the whole contouring thing with your bronzer and bring it down your chin, you could certainly do that. Something that I do when I do this is you kind of want to make a little bit of a double chin, and you're going to place your bronzer where that double chin is formed. Does that make sense? So I'll do that today. So I don't know if you can tell, but it just creates a little extra dimension. Pulls this part of your neck down and pulls your face up and out. And then lastly, I always go in and work a little bit of bronzer in my crease and on my lower lash line. I don't really know why, if it really does anything to me. It just feels like it pulls everything together. So I'm just going to use an eyeshadow brush, dip it into my bronzer, and go along my crease here. I don't know, you tell me, do you see a difference? Bronzer, non-bronzer. So the main focus of my eye look today, the product that I couldn't wait to share with you, is another product from Undone Beauty. It is their Nonzer, and it's their highlighter. It is absolutely incredibly beautiful. It is divided into 4 colors here. The top one is a beautiful pearly pink. The second one is more of like a light rose gold. And then the bottom here is like this beautiful angelic purple to pink shifty magical color here. It's my favorite one and the one that we are going to be using today. You could be done. This is a very basic, pretty, neutral eyeshadow look in my opinion. I would be satisfied with this, but because I always add a little bit of extra,
A little bit of something, something.
I'm going to add a little bit of this purple shade to the center of my eyelids. I want to apply it on top of a sticky base. To do this, you could use a concealer. However, I really like using my NYX Eyeshadow Base in the shade Skin Tone. I put a little bit on my fingertip. You don't need too much. I have a little bit on my middle finger here, and I'm just gonna pat a little bit on the center of each eyelid. I don't know if you can see where I laid the base down, but now I'm going to go in again with that same fingertip, and I'm going to lay some of this beautiful purple color down right where I applied that base. So that tacky base is going to give something for the shadow to stick to help it pop and to help it last throughout the day. I find that like in adding these extra little things, you're not doing it for other people. A lot of times people won't notice unless you're actually talking to them like face to face and you're turning your head and they're kind of seeing the shifts in the color and the little extra things that you've added to your look. I find that it adds a little bit of like mystery and beauty to your makeup look, and that's, to me, that's the fun part of makeup. Okay, so to finish up this eye look, I'm going to go in with just a little bit of liquid liner here just to line the outer part of my outer V. And then I'm going to curl my eyelashes once more, which I know is considered a taboo to some people, but I don't know, man, I swear by it. As long as your eyelash curler is clean, you clean your eyelash curler between every session, every time, you're not going to get that buildup of mascara dried on there, so you shouldn't have a problem with your eyelashes sticking to it and pulling out lashes. So for highlighter, I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild Illuminator MegaGlo stick in the shade When the Nude Strikes. This is super affordable. I've gone through a couple, I think like 3 or 4 of these already since discovering it a couple years ago. For my highlighter placement, I generally go for the top part of my cheekbones up to sort of my temple area here. I do apply directly from the stick. If you are wanting a softer highlight look, you can apply this to a brush first and then brush it on. But this is just what I do. So I'm going to just kind of drag it along the top of my cheekbone here up to my temple line, kind of like right where my eyebrow ends. And then I do put a little bit on the bridge of my nose, and then I put a little bit here on my Cupid's bow. And then I will usually do just a little bit here, kind of like make 11 lines on my forehead. And then I'm going to take just a round foundation brush and I'm going to blend it out. You could also use a damp beauty blender. Again, this is just what I like to do. And to blend it out, I'm going in circular motions. And if that is all that you want, it got kind of like a nice dewy, glowy look going on. However, I'm always extra with my highlighter, so I am going to go in with just a little bit more. I'm going to go in with my Undone Beauty Nonzer palette, actually. And on a very small tapered brush, I'm going to dip it. What should I do? Should I do the purple so it kind of accents the eyes? Or should I do like the light pink to not draw attention away from the eyes? I'm gonna do the light pink, I think. So I'm just gonna focus the brush in the pink area. And then lightly, again, following that C shape. If I do go in with a powder highlight like I'm doing now, sometimes I will bring that up to my arch just a little bit of a dusting, and drag it down to where it meets my cream highlighter. I don't know, it's that whole dimension thing. I would be going in with my Jane Iredale flocked sponge that I recently mentioned in a video, but I think I cleaned it last night and it's still damp because it's not in here. I'm guessing it's in my bathroom. So anyway, I'm just gonna go in again with my round foundation brush that I used and just once more blend everything, kind of mush everything together. All right, and then I'm going to do the finishing touch, my finishing spray. Again, this is an extra step. You certainly don't need to do a finishing spray. I don't actually like using it for the lasting, like the makeup lasting effect. I like it because I feel like it kind of, once you spray it on, it kind of like melts everything together. It's that lasting finishing touch to your look. So I am using the NYX Matte Finish Spray. I much prefer the dewy one. However, I just have a few backup of the mattes and I'm just going to use them up. I know that kind of defeats the glowiness that I just did, but this is all I have right now. So anyway, it is really good. I like the NYX finishing sprays. The matte one is great. I just prefer the dewy one because that's the type of look that I prefer. For lips, I don't have anything fancy. I just put on a little bit of AQUAPHOR just to have a little bit of a balmy effect. I feel that the center of attention for this look are my eyes, and so I don't want to put on anything super colorful on my lips. And I'm just going to keep it as this, and this is my finished, completed look. So, what do you think? What do you think? Alright, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me and joining me for my very first makeup tutorial. I like to think that I find makeup products that not a lot of people maybe know about or talk about, and I had a hard time deciding which ones to share with you today. So if you enjoyed this and you'd be interested in seeing more affordable makeup that you don't always see, that isn't so super mainstream, let me know down below and I'd be more than happy to do this with you again. Let me know down below what your favorite affordable makeup products are. I always like trying new makeup products, of course. I'm makeup and beauty obsessed, and if it's affordable, that is so much better. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. Thank you for watching. I hope that you hit that subscribe button and come back next time. And until next time, I hope you have the most wonderful day.